Hello, this is Chris Nielsen, Breaking Up with Fear. I have the pleasure to have Peter Burkin here, and we had a great conversation before this audio was hit record. And I want Peter to introduce himself to you and maybe share that story you were talking about earlier.
Great. Hello, Peter Burkin. I was traumatized as a child at home, led to playgrounds and schools, hurt people. So in college, I played 3 sports in high school, went on to play college lacrosse. My story is I just finished up fall lacrosse. My girlfriend and I was student teaching at the time. She and I experienced the loss of a baby. That was 30 years ago this year.
Sorry to hear that.
Then, thank you. Appreciate that. Next thing you know, I ended up having a nervous breakdown, which caused me to lose 3 months of my life locked up in a mental institution.
Wow.
So I went from never seeing a therapist, never being on any medicine, to having a bit of panic attacks during student teaching in this life experience. This 3 months they put me on 27 pills a day.
Whoa.
So it was like the time in 1989 where institutionalization was a possibility if you had good insurance. So from there, I was released after 3 months, but the thing is, I got suicidal on all these medicines. The expectation was, are you going to harm yourself? Are you going to kill yourself? Those kinds of things. So it planted a seed in my head with the realm of possibility that was an option all of a sudden. So
let me just say that just for a second. So before they even mentioned that, you really didn't look at that option. But now they were asking you the question, will you harm yourself? Will you this? You started to think that was a potential option.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was those seeds that caused me to act out or try to commit suicide 4 times in a matter of months. And then from there, when I was released, I went back to my mom's care after a halfway house for 2 weeks. Went back to my mom's care, and she said to me, Peter, there's nothing wrong with you. She and I weaned off 27 pills. There was no day treatment. There was no follow-up from the hospital. And I was in my mom's care, got off all the pills. Now, the thing is, about 1 year and 4 months later, I got sick again. Now, this time, I felt like Forrest Gump one day, before Forrest Gump came out in 1991. My body shut down. My mind said, don't run anymore, as we were going for a national championship in lacrosse my senior year at Nazareth College lacrosse. Next thing you know, I couldn't run anymore. I went up to the coach. I said, hey, coach, I can't run anymore. Next thing you know, I was rushed to the emergency department, which I didn't find out until 2018 what actually happened to me that day. I was rushed to the emergency department, spent another 3 months in a mental institution over too much exercise. So I almost died that day.
Because of too much exercise.
It brought so much stress. They said it brought a chemical imbalance in my brain, which they deemed again as schizophrenia. Spent 3 months not seeing the light of day at another mental institution. And next thing you know, is like, what's going on here? A lot of doubt came into my mind of what, as an adult, am I supposed to do with spending 6 months of my life in institutions. So
what an incredible experience. So how did you recover from that to get to where you are? How did you get out of that? How did you recover?
I was released to my mom again, which was quite fun, but alarming, because she's basically said, Peter, there's nothing wrong with you again. There was a day of eating home cooked meals and eating chocolate, watching TV, no structure at all. So I said to my mom, I need to go into day treatment program to bring structure to my life again. So I went to day treatment. My sister comes up to me and says, Peter, why don't you coach football? I coach cheerleading right now. I started coaching football. So being in service of those 7th and 8th grade boys, having the structure of day treatment, being in counseling, individual and group, and then the thing is, I was already getting public assistance, basically Social Security income for them deeming me basically schizophrenic. And then I was feeling better about the volunteering and the structure that I started filling out teacher applications. And by December, I graduated in 91, May of 91. By the end of that year, I was substitute teaching in December 91, just before the Christmas break. So that gave me an opportunity to get the structure, be in service of the 7th and 8th grade football players. And then the one thing that didn't come into play was the growth. I got the growth from the social workers and the group setting, but it wasn't until I realized that self-development and success principles really help define who you are. So I didn't learn that till some years later. Well, we're constantly getting life experience saying, you know what, here's another wake-up call, here's another wake-up call. And then you finally figure out that there are secrets to life. So they are structure, service, and learning and growing every day. So, yeah.
I love that. And so you believe that creating some structure in your life, learning and growing every day, and having that attitude, being in service, made the difference for you in your life.
Every bit of it, yes.
Yeah. Is part of that being of service, feeling you belong to something bigger?
I do belong to something bigger. That creator has made a universe which is defined by universal laws, that if you go with these laws and figure out through self-discovery by YouTube or by reading success books, that we can literally help co-create what we're thinking about in our heads based on these principles, success is going to be a result. So I did learn that.
Yeah. So what would you pass on to, any kid or young adult or even an older adult that was watching this, that your story, I think your story can make a difference in someone's life. And I actually love, what your mom said to you. There's nothing wrong with you. We sometimes believe all these messages we get from the world and miss our own truth. So what would you pass on to someone from these, getting through all this?
I would suggest a book like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yep, I like that.
I would also prescribe Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, that just came out in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the thing that holds us back the most is fear. And once you can overcome fear and replace it lead with love of oneself, especially, you are then going to be kind to your neighbor. Karma, what comes around goes around, and be in service to other people. Because what we're here, I think what we're meant to do is to provide an example for ourselves that we can do it, and also as an example to others that they can learn and grow from your story to be healthy as well. Because we're in this together. We are one group consciousness, one human race, one fun entity trying to survive. And we can survive and thrive as long as we realize we have to be kind to ourselves before we can be kind to others.
I love so many things, so much about what you said, and one of especially that we're in this together. And if we can just see that, what a difference it can make. And even if you feel alone, and I felt really alone too at points in college, just more alone than I've ever felt. So people out there, reach out, ask for help, because you know what? I realize, and I think Peter does as well at this point in our lives, that it feels good to be of service to other people and help other people out. Peter, how would people connect with you if they wanted to connect with you?
My name is Peter Burkin, and that's Burkin. You could search me out on Facebook or LinkedIn. My email address is P as in Peter, Burkin, BURKIN@gmail.com.
Thank you, Peter. I love sharing the story and the lessons that come from it. I hope when you watch this, you feel that you are okay. There's nothing wrong with you. And I think the biggest thing we think is wrong with us is that we think something's wrong with us. Doesn't mean we don't need help to find ways to cope with that and deal with that. And I believe, and I'd love to hear what you think about it too, Peter, is reaching out actually is a sign for help, is a sign of strength. And so many people have made that a feeling that you need to feel weak in that. We all need help. So reach out for help when you need it. Would you add anything to that, Peter?
Yes, I agree. And the person you can help out the most is yourself. And the way you do that is by, like you said, reaching out to other people and talking. Do not keep things buried, and basically work through the process. You know, a lot of people go, well, you don't want to live in the past. Well, if you want to be in the past, learning from prior things that happened, challenges, mistakes, if you will, there are opportunities in every bit, everything we experience. And once you realize there's a lesson to learn, uh, reframe it. What's the opportunity to learn and grow to thrive from this rather than not survive? So that would probably be it.
Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you for the wisdom you shared. And we'll end this right